Hi, guys. Oh, thank you so much. I am Kendall Blakeman, head of partnerships at SoPost for North America. I'm so thrilled to be hosting this session today with you guys alongside my dear friend Shelby. We have been working with e.l.f. over the last 3 or so years, and we have so many successful campaigns under our belt at this point. So naturally, it made sense for us to celebrate those wins and also take some learnings away. So today we're going to be talking about largely the machine that is e.l.f. Beauty, literally, and also why sampling is so important to have in your toolkit. But just as a quick introduction, this is Shelby Newell, Senior Brand Manager. She is an absolute powerhouse, you guys. I'm so lucky to work with her day in and day out. And so let's go ahead and get started.
Let's do it. Amazing.
Okay, so so let's get started. So Shelby, tell me a little bit about you. Who are you? What is your role? How do you play into the marketing efforts?
Yeah. So I've been at e.l.f. Beauty for 5 years now. Started on our international business and on the brand marketing side. And I've moved over to our global team probably about 2 years ago. I like to say, brand marketing is so different depending on where you are, where you work, and what industry you're in. Brand marketing at e.l.f. is very much so the nucleus and setting the groundwork and the strategy for everything that we're doing. So I kind of think about it in 2 ways. I think one is more of that long range planning. So 18 months, to 2 years out, we're thinking about strategically, what categories do we want to go into? What new innovation are we looking at? Working really closely with our product marketing team on what are those areas and those white spaces that we can go after. And that's kind of like the long range. And then the shorter term is 6 months to a year out. We're thinking about how are we actually bringing products and these campaigns to market? So working really strategically with our cross-functional partners internally for, setting the groundwork for these marketing campaigns. How are they coming up to life across our different channels? How are we showing up on social, on email? What's our TikTok shop strategy? What's our sampling strategy? Kind of all of that and how that ladders up to the broader marketing story. And that's really my job, is prioritizing and really setting the strategic framework for our teams to, have that North Star of what we're all marching towards, so that when a consumer is looking at e.l.f., no matter if it's on our email or part of our beauty squad, loyalty program, or on TikTok, just scrolling away, they see the same message across our platforms. And that's really, my job and my purpose.
So you're not wearing a lot of hats.
Yeah. I'm sleeping a ton. Yes. Yeah.
Well, you know this, but in case you guys don't know this yet, I am a huge e.l.f. fan of e.l.f. Everything from your products and your formulas to your branding, you guys are just killing it. But what I really love is that you guys really live and breathe by your values, and I like the mission behind e.l.f. Cosmetics. Can you tell the audience a little bit about what that mission is and how you bring that to life?
Yeah, so we are just over 20 years old, which is crazy when you look at all the heritage players in the beauty space. We're a very young company for how big we've become, especially over the last 5 years. Our, ethos and our mission has been the same since our founding, 20 years ago, and it's to make the best of beauty accessible to every eye, lip, and face. And we truly breathe that from the inside out. And it's something we know our consumers and our community are looking for, especially within the other, demographic. They're really thinking about, what is this company's mission? Do I align with it? Do I want to spend with it? We've all seen what's happened with Target and the blowback they've been getting around pulling back with DE&I. We are investing further. We think it's extremely important to our community, and it's part of our ethos and our values, and we will always stand true to that. I love our CMO always talks about, we will be very vocal about what we believe in, and we don't care if we lose people along the way, because the people who want to purchase from us are the people that we want in our network and a part of our community. So that mission, that really stands true in everything that we do, every decision we make. And I think a big part of that is our community. Our community is vocal. We always laugh. They are feral in our comments, asking for new products that they want. they want everything and they want it now, and they will tell us that. And we are very quick to respond to them. It's how we've been able to really set ourselves apart, is how quickly we can bring innovation to market and really respond to our consumers' needs and their demands. Literally demands. They're telling us what to do. We don't make our decisions anymore. Yeah, exactly. But we love it because they tell us what they want, we bring it to them, and it works, and they buy it. So it's been really great. But really going back to our mission and what we believe in, and standing firm in that, no matter what the economy or the economic or political landscape looks like, we will continue to stand with every item and face.
Sure. You've got all mine today. But clearly what you're doing is working, because I'm sure most people in this room already know, but you guys surpassed an enormous milestone in 2024 and hit over $1 billion in revenue, which was a 77% increase year over year, which is insane. Not only that, but you guys also just celebrated your 24th consecutive quarter of revenue growth, again insane, and increased market share. What the heck? Like, can we actually get so what do you think is the key to that success? Like, what is strategic? I know, just
a big question.
What do you think are like some of the strategic pillars that have helped drive that success?
Yeah, I think, again, I go back to our mission and our DNA and what we've always set out to do. I don't know if anyone knows this, but we were actually founded by a father-son duo, and their full mission was to sell cosmetics over the internet for $1. And that was truly like the founding principles of e.l.f. Although we can't sell things for $1 anymore, the digital disruption and what they were trying to do from a D2C landscape is something that's still very native to us. Obviously, we're in a lot more retailers at this point. Distribution's a lot broader, but we want to stay true to that of being digital disruptors in whatever that looks like. We know our community is going to a ton of different platforms. There's always something new popping up, and we always want to be where our community is. So I know there's a lot of talks about TikTok. What's going to happen when TikTok goes away? We're going to find the next platform. Wherever our community is, we're going to be there, and we're going to be the first there. And that is continuing to be, such a strategic pillar for us, is being first to market, digitally disruptive. I think another big piece of it is finding innovation and prestige quality products that the world is loving, and making it at an accessible price point for people. We want the masses to be able to try beauty, to feel like they can get their foot in the door, and so that everything is accessible and possible for them. And we will keep grinding at that. Our innovation team, I don't sleep, but our innovation team truly doesn't sleep, because they're bringing things to market faster than you'd ever believe, just because of our incredible partnership with our manufacturers and the teams that we've been able to build. So speed to market, bringing, we've actually talked about this a lot I think over the last 3 to 5 years, strategically changing kind of our position. It used to be speed and quality, but now it's quality and speed. We're not going to bring anything to market that we're not super excited about and we don't feel super confident and strong about, but we still want to do that really quickly. And so prioritizing the quality, because we know consumers come back when the product's good, and building that equity and trust with them through those incredible products and giving it to them at a value price point, and just opening the doors to more people so they can experience beauty.
I've said it better myself. Speaking of a few years of kind of transforming this and working together, we started working together in 2022, and 3 years now, which is nuts. Time flies when you're having fun. And I feel like our partnership has also scaled so dramatically since our first few campaigns together. Now we're sending hundreds of thousands of samples out across all categories globally to customers to help you engage with those audiences. How did sampling start to play a role in the strategy, and how does it play a role in your strategy now?
Yeah. So what I was talking about accessibility and getting product into people's hands, I think what we found with our brand is when people try the products and realize how incredible the quality is at that, amazing price point, we say you can get 3 for the price of one of the big guys. They really become brand stans. I think you were the same way. You were a prestige plugger, a prestige wearer for forever, spending $40 to $50 to $60 on your foundation. And I was like, wait a second,
Yeah.
Kendall, let me introduce you to the liquid filter. Your world's gonna be changed.
Yeah, Shelby took me to the product,
The
like,
product closet.
Oh,
Product
yeah.
closet. I outfitted her.
changed my life.
Yes, but that's exactly the point and why sampling has been so
Yeah.
integral for us and why we continue to invest in SoPost and more campaigns every year. I think we're at like half a million samples. It's craziness. Like we're constantly investing in that because it not only helps us with brand awareness and getting more people to know about e.l.f., but it also helps get the product in people's hands that we normally wouldn't be able to reach. You guys help us reach those new audiences. And really speak to them on new platforms through TikTok. We just started testing out TikTok and had like the highest CPL we've ever, or lowest CPL that I've ever had, which was insane. Sure.
You guys, they literally had a cent CPL on TikTok last week. Like it was insane.
But over like 20,000 units.
25,000 units.
Yeah,
they were gone
in
like
a second. And our community loves it. Like they're talking to us in the comments, asking for more samples, wanting to try it. And so from a brand awareness standpoint, that's been incredible for us. We've been able, since 2020 to 2024, we've raised unaided brand awareness by 20 points, which is anyone that's been in the industry for this long knows that's absolutely insane. We're playing against these huge heritage brands. And part of that is sampling, like being able to get our brand out there. We're really strategic about targeting people who aren't already part of our network. We haven't already tried e.l.f. to get it into their hands because once they try it, we know they're converted to trying again because they see how incredible that quality is. So it's been really great.
e.l.f.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've been able to also bring them into our beauty squad program through capturing all of their data with SoPost, which has been amazing. And we can then bring them in, retarget them, get them in through, an offer. If they've tried a mini of a primer, how can we get them to purchase the full size and really be a part of our loyalty program? So it's been incredible.
I mean, we were going to talk about that later, but actually I can just bring it up now.
Yes.
Like another huge testament to you guys. We saw over 4.5 million people in your company squad.
Yeah.
Usually, like that's nuts.
Yeah.
That's enormous. Do you feel like sampling has played a big role in like building that or just continuing to keep that audience engaged?
Yeah, for sure. And I think once we get them into, we know, and I think it's true across the board, loyal consumers and people that are part of your loyalty program are oftentimes higher spenders have higher lifetime value, come back and shop with you more. And so being able to get them in, retarget them, get them in with another offer, get them on our D2C site, and really bring them in as part of the journey has been just like so great for our beauty squad.
I feel like the cross promotion of the different products and categories too. It's not just like one hero product that you guys have.
Right.
They're truly all that good.
Yeah.
So it's like you try one, then you have to try another, you have to try another. So then they just keep coming back for more.
So that's what we hope.
So we've worked together for 3 years. We've had a ton of campaigns. Are there any that stand out to you that were like the creme de la creme, the North Star that like were particularly successful or impactful in the business?
Yeah, I love this question. Okay, we have like a mix of men and women. I'm like, does everyone know what a primer is? Yeah, okay. I'm getting head nods. Okay, if not, we like to use this anecdote. Like, if you go into Home Depot and you're buying paint for your wall, like you need to prime the wall before you paint it, right? Like you need to prime your face before you paint your face with makeup. So primers, we are the #1 primer brand in all of cosmetics, and we have the #1 primer SKU in Massachusetts. I actually think we hold 9 out of the top 10. Like we are a primer brand through and through. We believe in priming. Like
They're sticky.
they're sticky, they're grippy, they're gonna hold your makeup all day. And so Power Grip Primer is our #1 primer in mass cosmetics. And it's something that we've had around for years now, and we need to find ways to continue to reinvigorate it. So this past Super Bowl, we decided to do another big campaign around Power Grip Primer and how we can really like animate that. Our CMO is a little crazy. She loves to do things in 2 to 3 weeks because who doesn't bring a Super Bowl, campaign to life in 2 weeks? I think she loves the challenge, loves to see what we can do. But all jokes aside, we brought a Super Bowl commercial to life in literally 2 weeks, which is insanity. And all teams were kind of scrambling, like, how do we support this? Not only because it needs to not only be something you see on TV, but we need to then see it on TikTok, we need to see it on, social, on email. Like, how are we all talking about Power Grip Primer? And so I like frantically texted Kendall, I texted you like, we need to get a sampling program going now, like Power Grip Primer, get it into like 50,000 people's hands. And I think
Yeah, we did up and wanted into that one too.
yeah, and it was just a massive, another moment to, you have this broader marketing story. How are all of these different tentacles and pillars laddering up to that story, that product focus? And this was another way to do that. So we were able to target people who've never tried the primer before, get it into their hands, bring them into our loyalty program, and really build that full 360 campaign. So everybody knows that they need a primer and they need Power Grip Primer.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So that was a great way to like really, and I think that's what we're strategically looking at doing this year too, is all of these big, we call them like our big bets, these big launches that we have. How are we then supporting with sampling to new people who haven't tried it yet or haven't gotten hands on it? So
Yeah.
we'll continue to do that.
I mean, like at the basic level, I always tell my team and our partners, like strip it back to like, what is the value
Yeah.
of sampling, right?
Yeah.
And it's literally like, if you try something, you're going to be that much more likely to fall in love with the product
100%.
versus just seeing the Super Bowl ad and you're like, oh, what's that? Like
Yeah.
that seems cool or relevant or funny.
Yeah.
And those are so funny and cheeky.
It's be entertaining.
Exactly. But taking it that step further,
Yeah.
I feel like it's really where the value comes in.
Yeah, we actually, another funny story with Power Grip Primer is, so we launched it in Italy last year, and we kept getting told by our agency in Italy, by all of these different, strategic partners there, that Italians don't wear primers. Like, you're never going to wear a primer. Don't put that as your hero SKU. We're like, well, it is our hero SKU. Like, we are the primer brand. We're like, don't do it. I'm like, we're gonna do it, and we did it, and it became the number one SKU at Douglas, Italy. Was like, took off. Absolutely, like, Italians everywhere were wearing primers again, and like, I think it's again just like getting that word out there, getting people to try it and realize that, like, think you don't need a primer, but you actually really do. So that was another funny thing. We're like, we actually changed the Italian makeup consumer. They now all wearing primers.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that we could spin off on that.
Yeah.
So I feel like the Douglas partnership that we've explored together and everything too, I just feel like there's so much that you could tap into too with like the retailer community and network and tapping into that data set and just making sure you're reaching for it. But speaking of the value that you're getting from these things, I'm curious how you guys are proving out the value of the campaigns. Like, what does your measurement framework look like?
Yeah, I think first and foremost is efficient media spend, which you and I have talked about a lot. All the time, and especially with, I think it's a little bit of the risk of testing out new platforms that they talked about. Do we try Pinterest? Do we try Snapchat? And I think not the fear, but the challenge is we have such a low CPL for Meta and for TikTok that we're like, is it worth testing on these new platforms? But then on the other side, it's a great way to reach a new audience and to tap into a new platform. But I would say that's the first and foremost, is like, how efficient is our media spend. The second has really been, and this is again something kind of back half of last year, and as we think about this next year, is getting the first party data and bringing them into our loyalty program. As I mentioned before, our loyalty program is growing, and we've seen that they are, much loyal shoppers. They'll spend more with us and they have a higher lifetime value. So bringing them into our system has been really great. It's also been something we're looking at is how we can better fuel our D2C site with so many different distribution points. E-com and our D2C is still very important to us, and it was how we became a brand. It's part of our, our founding story. So how do we continue to fuel that? And SoPost has been a great way for us to do that, because we can then retarget them with a discount code or something on our site to drive them there and to get them into our system. So I think that's another thing, is like getting that first party data and then seeing how they're converting once we're retargeting them to bring them back into the system.
Well, and I mean, another thing that I don't think you're planning to touch on, but maybe not, is it has been, I feel like, so cool to see how we have evolved in terms of the data that we're capturing.
Yes.
So, like, for example, we used to just capture like the PII, but now we're capturing the rich data in
Yeah.
alignment with that PII so that you guys can really personalize those messages that you're sending out off the bat of the bed.
Yeah.
So obviously we have, I think, our touch points that we're sending, but you guys can also take that into Beauty Squad and
Right.
like say, these people are shopping at this retailer and
Right.
they care about this product category and everything else, and like to be able to just like that.
Yeah. And then reiterating that, but it's been great. Yeah.
Okay, and so back to your like ethos.
Yes.
Which I feel like really stems from your community and the audience that you guys have built. How do you think that sampling helps contribute to building that like customer advocacy and community growth?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, our community is very vocal. They want things. They want free things. Everybody loves a free thing. So when they see on one platform that, there was a liquid poreless putty primer that was free, they're like, "What? How can I get my free one?
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
where should I get that?"
Yeah.
And so continuing to just to delight them, to excite them, and to again give product into their hands for them to test and try, has been a great way for us to build that, that community love, to show them that we're there. Again, it goes back to that accessibility and opening up the doors for more people to try and experience e.l.f. And doing that through, free samples has been incredible to really build that love and that equity. And then I think just being able to bring them in and be a part of our community again too, has been,
But I feel like the reviews have been really interesting that we've seen too. That you're able to build that into like R&D for innovation and
Yes.
products. Because you guys are working so quickly that like, it really helps to understand what are customers caring about.
Yeah.
What do they want in the product? Do they want free samples at the end of the day?
Right.
Which a lot of times they are actually giving the feedback like they love that you guys are so generous with your products. So
Right. And that reminds me too on reviews. Another thing we were saying about, benefits of doing this is also getting reviews. So a lot of times we're thinking about how, our sampling strategy in general and how we balance our core assortment with new innovation, because we're constantly launching newness. And I think everybody in the past has thought about sampling like, okay, I got to get all my newness into people's hands. They can try it and test it and love it. But it's also like, how do we, launch something and love it and continue to fuel it? And so for our core business, it's continuing to sample that again, people who haven't tried it can try it, and to continue to give it love and support. And then for new innovation, SoPost has also been a great way for us to get reviews on our site, on our .com. I think when we send out like 50,000 units, we end up getting like a couple thousand reviews, which as everybody knows, like when there's more reviews on a product and the higher the reviews are on a product, the more likely people are to buy. Consumers really rely on those reviews, and then our reviews obviously then get syndicated across all of our different distribution points. So having thousands of reviews and obviously hopefully positive reviews, because the product quality is there, is just such a great way to build that equity and that loyalty.
well, and like a testament to the conversation that you guys are developing with that customer, because like none of our reviews are necessarily incentivized.
Right, exactly.
But they are enjoying trying it so much and they love the brand so much that they're coming back and giving you all of this valuable feedback. It's like,
And an added bonus is if we get UGC. Sometimes too, if they're super excited about getting a free product, you get UGC. So
well, which speaking of, wait a teeny gosh,
I didn't need to do that.
I don't even know if we've talked about this yet. I think we have because we're running campaigns with it now. But we have our new UGC capture. So we're capturing visual UGC with the reviews now. That can be sent to your site. So
Love that.
win-win for those who haven't tried it out yet. It's here.
It's just a little shameless plug. Yes.
Yeah.
We love.
I have to do it, Okay, so I think we're about at time, guys. I do want to leave some time for questions from anyone in the audience, but we have one more question for you.
Yes.
What is the tea? Like, what should we be looking for from e.l.f? What is coming? You guys are about to start your new fiscal.
Yes.
Like, what's to come in 2026?
Yes. I mean, we have obviously 2 retailer reset seasons. The next one is coming up. So starting in April, you're going to see some really exciting launches. looks like some already got leaked because Target employees love to leak our products. So just go on TikTok and you can figure out what it is. But we have a really big launch coming up in April that we think is gonna shake up the industry. Yeah, really some really incredible launches. So that's definitely coming in the next, 3 months or so. Some really incredible innovation. We're launching new products and we launch like 30 SKUs twice a year, which is insanity. But it's really how can we be say fewer, bigger, bolder? How can we go a lot bigger behind these, our big bet innovation or our core, call them our holy grail products, and really go bigger behind them from all angles. So less of the smaller things that aren't gonna like really move the needle and more of, those big moments that will help build brand love and awareness of our products. So I would say look out for some fun innovation and hopefully some more sleep from all of us in the next few months.
I know I'm excited.
Yes.
It's like I'm kind of ready to product process.
Yes.
But let's go ahead and open it up to the audience.
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions? I think we probably have time for one or two, maybe three. I don't know where Izzy is. She was gonna let me know. There you are. Fine. Are we good? Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah. Yes.
So question on your sampling first.
Yeah.
And now that you've done them for a while, how has it changed your price promotion model?
Yeah. So we don't price promote. We are an everyday value brand. And so our products are never discounted. Sampling is a way for us to get product into people's hands and we use it as a marketing tool, but we're never price promoted. So I think we will do certain targeted, discounts if we're bringing someone into our D2C site. For example, through SoPost, we'll do a targeted, very specific 15% off a certain product for a very limited time. It's a short window, but you'll see like across our retailers, like we do not price promote across our D2C. Last year was the first year we didn't participate in a Black Friday deal or Cyber Monday deal. And again, just going back to that ethos of we want to be an everyday value and we don't want to train the consumer to expect deep discounts from us because that's just not. It's also hard to just kind of $2 lip liner. Like, what do you give it? You're basically giving it away for free. Might as well be a marketing sample at that point. So, we do like strategic, GWPs, or we'll do like vaults, where you get, a merch item or a lower price point product with purchase, but it's very rare.
Well, and then one last question.
Yeah.
The innovation for sampling. So
Yes.
remove all the barriers. What do you want to see happen with sampling innovation?
My gosh, that's such a question. No. You're really stumping me. Like SoPost does it all. I would say I honestly think this UGC thing is huge. Being able to pull in UGC, especially to our website, I think as I was mentioning, reviews are so huge and getting honestly like micro influencers and these smaller creators having these really organic reviews of a product we've seen tremendously help our business or explode a product without us even knowing. We're like, why did our glossy lip stain that we launched 10 years ago randomly pop off? We're like, oh, some micro influencer posted about it and the world went crazy. So I think pulling in more of those UGCs, maybe even making it part of the requirement if you get a free sample, or maybe a certain specific percentage of reviews that you get are UGC, I think would be incredible because we've seen that really move the needle.
Love that.
Do you have an answer for that? I want to know. No barriers. I'm actually really curious.
So I think in the sampling space, I think there's a real need to be more sustainable. So sampling is really important. I think it's probably the best conversion tool for a consumer. But there's still a lot of waste in it.
Totally.
So I think the sustainability and coming up with samples that are much more in the 3R execution is what the consumer's going to want. Whoever gets there first will win.
Yeah.
And then the second is exactly what you said. Getting the samples in the space, which are nano influencers, because their communities are so loyal, using those vehicles to amplify the sampling first.
Yeah.
So one sample actually reaches 10.
Yes, yes.
I think there's a big scale opportunity as long as you go after the now.
Yeah. I love that. I think the other thing too that I didn't mention was, but just on your note on sustainability, sampling for us is usually full-size product because as we all know, the cogs of a sample or a mini is basically the same thing as the cogs in the full size. And we're already such a value, low price point brand. So we will oftentimes sample full size. So we're not making like a ton of these minis of a product, which I think goes back to the waste part of it.
Yep.
And helps a lot. But if there's, ways of how we're sending out like, one of everything out to 50,000 people, like if there's a way to do that more sustainably, I think 100% brand would be so on board.
I mean, not that you asked me, but let me just weigh in too. I mean, I think like sustainability is such a huge pillar of what we do. And it's a big reason why we've been able, I feel like, to target the right people for, like, you saw an example, but like anyone in this room that works with us, right? Because we're focused on how are we filtering out people who are trying to cheat the system?
Yeah.
How are we filtering out people who maybe aren't necessarily the right customer for the brand and give them an alternative experience so that they still can become potentially a consumer, but maybe they're not getting that like free full-size sample that e.l.f. wants to send out.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I think it's just so important to evolve with your partners. Like it's a testament to how close our relationship is, and again, like the relationships that we have in this room. I'm not our CEO and founder, but let me speak for myself. I think it has been so like crucial to have your feedback in real time to help us evolve our product, to help us move with you in terms of what you're looking to do and where you're looking to be and how we can grow alongside you to support your like initiatives and objectives and all these things. So it's like, if we're looking at nano, how are we tapping into nano? If we're looking at, evolving our data capabilities, it's like, how can we build in new fields? How can we look at these platforms? And it's constantly like pushing the boundaries and being that like digital disruptor. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I think it's also difficult. Your question brought this up for me is, especially I think Gen Z, I love Gen Z. I have no hate against Gen Z, but I feel like sometimes they talk out of two sides of their mouth. They're like, we want sustainability, but we also want free products. It's like, how do I do that? How do we achieve that? So it's also like you guys, working on sustainability in the background helps us as brands still deliver on our goals of getting products in people's hands. We're doing it in a way that's a bit more sustainable. I'm trying to figure out what the heck they want from us. That's why I have my intern here.
I'm the intern. Thanks so much. This is great. I'm glad you took the full-size products question.
Yeah.
Because sampling makes this hard. Sampling on an everyday value brand isn't harder.
Yeah.
So interesting about the full-size product. So I guess my question is like when you're sampling products for, you said you have 30 new SKUs a year, which is like
twice a year. Yeah.
twice a year. Right? So how are you choosing like the shades sample? How are you like letting you select that, or are you letting them select it, or is it just you kind of recommend a hero shade?
Yeah.
And the second question is like, are you including anything in the collateral that comes with the sample but it's like interesting to know? Because I think that's a key piece. I mean, we sample fragrance a lot. I'm from Coty, and it's it's typically the same thing, like those kind of things. But I think there's a lot to be said about how you can make that even more interesting with sustainability sample as well.
Yeah, and educate too. So on your first question, it depends on the product. For a shaded product or a complexion product, we would never give just a run-of-the-mill shade. We want people to choose the shade that works for them. That being said, foundation we just launched has 36 shades. So you can't sample 36 shades, right? The complexity on the back end.
15.
Yeah, the complexity on the back end is crazy. So yeah, we ended up doing like a smaller shade range, including swatching, including, the arm swatches to see what they think, what shade is best for them. We also, I don't know if we did this, but we have a virtual try-on tool as well. So I think maybe also something you can look into is like bringing them into the virtual try-on tool to really see what shade they are, and then they pick from there. So that's how we handle like complexion products. For anything else, like a primer is universal, which is great. A skincare product is usually universal, which is incredible. Lip, we'll do like a couple shades. Usually, depending on the product, you can make it can work for most skin tones, but for the most part, and going back to like our accessibility and inclusivity, we want people to be able to choose their shade, which is why SoPost has been a great partner in making sure that's possible, so that we're not force fitting something into a shade.
Just before we go to the next question, have you ever faced any issues where you might need to have a stop on a certain shade, for example? Like that's not a great experience. I'm just curious how you manage that with like sorting.
Yeah,
If, for example, on a foundation box.
you mean like they get claimed, some shades get claimed.
Essentially, you go through to claiming and maybe like there's 2 shades available, which are just not your shades. Like that's frustrating. So I'm just curious how you manage that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Interesting.
that honestly might be more of a question.
Yeah,
Because it has happened.
It has
Yeah.
happened. So actually going back to your first question, we work really closely with actually TIFF to determine how many samples per shade should be available based on popularity of those shades. So we kind of cater it to that first and foremost. So hopefully that will mitigate like being out of stock for certain shades for a long period of time. We also have direct integrations with our warehouse providers, right? So that's the value of running through us for a variant campaign is like we know exactly when the stock is in or out.
Yeah.
As soon as it's out, we then work with like Britt and media team to swap the assets so that whatever assets being used, sorry, you guys are like literally getting blinded by the light in the front here. Oh my gosh.
Glowing.
Seriously. Halo flower. But where was I going with that? So we work really closely with the media team to swap out the creative and change the targeting so that hopefully you're mitigating any of the people who would potentially be looking for an alternative shade, at least to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
And then if you're getting like an alternative shade that doesn't necessarily work for you, we're hearing back that feedback, like then they're able to kind of, I guess, directly reach out to them and like talk to them and again, like build that community and that two-way relationship longer term and give them maybe the opportunity to try the different SKU if it wasn't necessarily the right one.
And what was your start?
Second question was just around collateral that comes with the sample. You guys still think about one?
Sorry.
The collateral that comes with the sample.
Yeah, I think, and back to the complexion kind of example, I think especially on a product like that or on a skincare product, education is so key. You don't want to just like throw a product in a box and send it to someone. Like they need to know what it is, what it does. So we work with like our internal creative teams to actually make those insert cards with product education. If it's a complexion product, sometimes a QR code to link back to the virtual try-on tool. And really just educate it that way. I think that's key, honestly, instead of just, throwing a sample in a box.
And would you direct them back to your D2C or
Yeah.
to retail?
We direct back to our D2C.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's kind of the case across all of our touch points. Like we always want to drive to our D2C.
Yeah.
Obviously, we are in so many different distribution points because we want the accessibility. We want people to shop wherever they want to shop. And actually part of our loyalty program is receipt scanning. So no matter where you buy e.l.f, you get the points, the reward points in your loyalty account, just to encourage shopping anywhere.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we are all out of time, guys. We could talk forever.